Hello everyone, welcome to Upskill Space. You are in Data Science Syllabus playlist, and this is the last video in the sequence where I'll be talking about the must to know concepts for query language. Let's see what are those concepts. So when you say a query language, there are nowadays many types of query languages. Structured query language or SQL is one of the oldest one and the very basic ones. Then we have no SQL form also, like if you have heard of MongoDB, that falls into no SQL form. So whether you know SQL form or no SQL form, you have to know one of them. Although it's until and unless you really plan to work out data engineer, uh, knowing NoSQL is not a must. If you just know SQL concept and specifically few important concepts from interview point of view, you are thorough to it. And I'm going to discuss what could be those concepts. What why do you need to know SQL in first place? Okay, so I'll tell you a little background how it works in industry. A data scientist is of course a person who is supposed to work on everything, starting from fetching the data. So mostly the data is never readily available in the form you want. Sometimes clients help you to get the data in the form you may want, but most of the time they just give you the source, the database credentials, and they expect you to fetch yourself whatever you need, because they may not have the idea. The person may be from business background or from non-technical background, so even if you ask the other person to help you out, may not be able to help you. So that's the reason you should know the query structured query language. So you'll be given a business requirement on paper, and understanding the business requirement, you have to analyze what data you would need to fulfill the given requirements. And once you have analyzed what data you need, you have to accordingly understand the tables in the data frame. Having those data, you have to now write a query language, structured query, or what you would just say SQL query, and then fetch the data to maybe store it in a different table, or store directly fetch it to your local system, and then work further. This is how it works in day-to-day life for a data scientist. That's the reason if you don't know SQL, you'll be handicapped as a data scientist, and you'll be dependent on other person for you to fetch the data to proceed your day-to-day task, which is not acceptable at all from business point of view, and is of course from a revenue point of view. So as a data scientist, if you know everything very well, let's say you know ML very thoroughly, you know ML concepts very thoroughly, you know deep learning thoroughly, everything well, good enough, but you don't know SQL, you are going to be rejected firstly. That's how it works. So if you are learning, you should also learn about SQL. Okay, so having set the background for you, why SQL is so important, let's go ahead what happens in general. So you are expected to write queries given the business requirement, or if, in other way, you are also expected, being a senior data scientist, you will be expected to translate the business requirement to a data requirement. But if you're just a junior data scientist or a beginner or a novice one, then you may not be basically expected to do that, but rather your senior scientist will go ahead and do the transformation and tell you directly what should be fetched from the table, and you are supposed to write the query for that. So yeah, the person will describe you, your senior will describe you on paper which all tables to be joined, what are columns to be fetched, and you just can write the query as a junior data scientist and get this. Of course, you will not have much idea why you are fetching certain columns, but again, technically you'll be able to do the task given that you know SQL. Right. In SQL also, again, it's a vast topic. It's very vast topic, but the must to know points from interview perspective is going to be the different type of joins. So while writing the query, you'll have to join tables. Now, table cannot be joined just like that. There are different types of joins, and each join serves a certain purpose. So you should know which join to be used when. what each join means and how to utilize them. So that's the expectation you should know in advance. Nobody is going to teach you over there. And okay, even in the interview, if there is any question coming up on SQL, it will be not directly asking you different type of joins, but ask you to write a query to meet certain small requirement. And the interviewer will try to test your understanding, whether do you understand which join to be used when. So that's how it goes. You are also expected to know the various aggregation functions, or in other way, group by clause, how to use group by, and what all can be done at a group level operations. So you should know the all group level operations too. You should also know the difference between having and where clause. Having and where clause, many candidates fail to understand, and hence of course fail to make use of it. But if you know the differences, you'll be able to write efficient queries. That's the reason you should know the difference between them. Whenever you have to partition the tables, you can do very easily with the functions like row number, dense, rank. So that's the reason you should know about these functions too. And so whenever there are questions like fetch top n records based on some criteria, top m records, you can do that very easily if you know these functions like row number, dense, rank. So putting it all together, of course, learn and also practice some real-time queries writing before attending any interviews, because certainly there will be a scenario given to you and you'll be expected to write a query. It is okay if you don't write 100% right over there, but you should must know the concept. That's what to the minimum expected from you as a data scientist. I hope this information is useful to you. And with this, if you have any more questions related to any topics that you think I have not covered and you have come across during your interviews, let me know. I will make videos on them. Or and until then, you have a happy learning. Thank you.